What signals will appear when someone is being used to weaken your peace and distract your purpose? Scripture teaches that God always provides warnings before harm arrives. He does not leave you blind. He reveals patterns. He reveals behaviors. He reveals spiritual disturbances. When you learn to recognize these signs, you protect your heart, your mind, and your calling. The first sign is chaos. When God is present, peace follows, order follows, stability follows. But when destructive influence enters your life, confusion begins to grow. Scripture teaches that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Chaos does not come from Him. Chaos comes from opposing forces. It disrupts your focus. It disturbs your clarity. It weakens your emotional and spiritual strength. Over time, you may begin to notice small disruptions. Boundaries that once protected your peace begin to collapse. Your work suffers. Your focus fades. Emotional drama begins to invade your daily responsibilities. What was once stable becomes unpredictable. What was once calm becomes stressful. This confusion drains your energy. It weakens your spiritual awareness. Chaos always seeks to distract you from your higher purpose and inner stability. Your relationships with others may also begin to suffer. Friendships that once brought strength now feel distant. Family connections become strained. Misunderstandings increase. Arguments appear without reason. Emotional tension replaces emotional peace. This pattern is not accidental. Chaos spreads gradually. It isolates you. It separates you from support. Isolation weakens your spiritual protection and emotional clarity. Your thoughts also begin to change. Anxiety replaces calm thinking. Emotional confusion replaces certainty. Mixed signals create doubt. You question yourself. You question your judgment. You question your direction. This inner instability weakens your confidence. It creates emotional vulnerability. Confusion is one of the clearest warning signs that destructive influence is present and growing stronger. A woman sent by God brings peace, not chaos. She strengthens order. She strengthens stability. She protects emotional balance. She does not increase drama. She reduces it. She supports your growth. She strengthens your purpose. She multiplies peace. She multiplies emotional strength. Her presence builds. It does not destroy. It creates clarity instead of confusion. The second sign is disrespect toward commitment. Marriage represents spiritual unity. It represents covenant. It represents responsibility. Destructive influence seeks to weaken this sacred bond. It attempts to destroy trust. It attempts to create temptation. It attempts to weaken loyalty. Commitment requires discipline. It requires integrity. Without integrity, emotional and spiritual damage spreads quickly and silently. Some women may attempt to break existing commitments. They use emotional manipulation. They use attraction. They use emotional weakness against you. They create emotional temptation. They weaken your discipline. This temptation leads to destruction. It weakens your spiritual protection. It damages your emotional stability. It creates regret. Regret weakens spiritual strength and emotional confidence. Others may attempt to prevent commitment entirely. They create emotional attachment without long-term loyalty. They create emotional dependency without spiritual unity. They take emotional energy without giving spiritual support. They weaken your focus. They weaken your purpose. Emotional attachment without spiritual alignment creates emotional instability and spiritual distraction over time. The right woman strengthens commitment. She strengthens unity. She strengthens purpose. She supports spiritual growth. She does not weaken your discipline. She strengthens your discipline. Her presence creates emotional security. Emotional security strengthens your spiritual clarity and emotional stability naturally. Commitment grows naturally when spiritual alignment exists between two people. The third sign is rebellion against spiritual order. God created structure. Structure creates stability. Stability creates protection. When this order is rejected, instability follows. Emotional conflict increases. Respect disappears. Cooperation disappears, spiritual unity weakens. This imbalance creates emotional conflict and spiritual weakness inside relationships. Over time, spiritual rebellion creates emotional tension. It creates competition instead of unity. It creates conflict instead of cooperation. This conflict weakens emotional connection. It weakens spiritual strength. Unity requires humility. Unity requires respect. Without respect, emotional peace disappears. Emotional instability replaces spiritual stability and emotional security over time. God designed relationships to function through mutual respect. Leadership requires sacrifice. Respect requires humility. Love requires discipline. When these roles collapse, emotional chaos increases. Emotional conflict replaces emotional unity. Spiritual disconnection replaces spiritual alignment. This pattern weakens emotional strength and spiritual protection gradually over time. The fourth sign is resistance against your spiritual devotion. A destructive influence will attempt to weaken your faith. It will attempt to distract your spiritual focus. It will attempt to replace spiritual clarity with emotional confusion. This resistance appears gradually. It appears through emotional pressure. It appears through emotional manipulation and constant emotional conflict. Complaining becomes a weapon. Emotional pressure increases. Emotional peace disappears. Constant criticism weakens your confidence. It weakens your spiritual discipline. Emotional exhaustion replaces spiritual strength. Emotional exhaustion weakens your resistance. It weakens your spiritual awareness gradually and silently over time. Spiritual distraction weakens your connection with God. It weakens your purpose. It weakens your clarity. This distraction creates emotional vulnerability. Emotional vulnerability weakens spiritual protection. Spiritual protection requires discipline. It requires awareness. It requires emotional strength and spiritual focus daily. A godly woman strengthens your faith. She strengthens your peace. She strengthens your clarity. She supports your spiritual growth. She protects emotional stability. She creates emotional peace. Her presence strengthens spiritual unity and emotional strength naturally over time. God always provides wisdom to those who seek Him. He reveals warning signs. He reveals truth. He protects those who listen. Awareness protects your heart. Awareness protects your future. Stay alert. Stay disciplined. Stay spiritually focused.